Superman flying, being like a god, and Batman in the night. It was amazing. And then I started digging up about, in Twitter and Instagram about accounts and that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that a lot of people didn't like the movie, and I was like really surprised. I
Right.
didn't know why. And then I saw the Ultimate Edition, which was even better. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
that's like not a fucking 3 movie like Rotten Tomatoes gave it. It's a fucking 8 or a 9.
Mm-hmm.
And then we released the hype engine for Justice League, and I was like fucking excited for 8 months. I was all day watching videos, all the things, all the time. And I came and I saw that shit. And I was like, okay, if this is shit, this has come being a shit from a long way. And that's what we're gonna discuss, like why the past, in my opinion, has been so bad. That is, BVS didn't really catch the critics. It did pretty good box office, and instead of saying, well, let's instead of Warner Brothers saying, oh, let's give this universe some time to develop and that stuff, they said no, cope and optimism, like Geoff Jones says. And they fucked up Zack Snyder's vision. But there's the dilemma, like they didn't want Zack, but they let him finish photography of Justice League, and he's already almost finished it, and then they like fire him and then bring Joss Whedon. I think that the past, if you only watch the movies, I think it's been great. I mean, excepting Justice League, but the trouble that he's been making is gonna affect, in my opinion, really bad to the future.
See, you've already touched on pretty much 3 different topics that I was gonna toss your way, and you made some excellent points. I think I guess I was fortunate to see Man of Steel in theaters, and like I said in one of my videos for BVS, I enjoyed the movie in theaters. However, when I saw BVS the second time in theaters, and like you, I had the same reaction. I was like, holy shit, this is a really good movie. I knew the theatrical cut and the Ultimate Edition would be different based off of what similar scenario at Watchmen and everything. But BVS, like I said, made me view Man of Steel in a much different light. And once I sat down and watched them, one day I just sat down and watched them side by side. I was like, holy shit, how the fuck did this man do this? And just the little things to the big things, to the themes and the symbolism and all that. And like you said, man, Rotten Tomatoes, that whole website is toxic. It gives people who rely on Rotten Tomatoes the wrong idea of what movies they should be watching and what movies to not watch, instead of just letting people decide for themselves. And in terms of Rotten Tomatoes, I made a post saying, like, the internet, if you're not a strong-minded person, the internet can have a lot more influence on you than you realize, and that goes into Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, because like the general audience, I don't really like watch the critics before I go watch a movie, but looks like a lot of people do. And if you're not into superheroes and you go and you see it has like a 2.7, you're like, I'm not gonna waste my money seeing this. I'm gonna watch Civil War or something like that. But what I hate about Rotten Tomatoes is, like, I understand that people didn't like the movie. I mean, I have no problem. People have different opinions, but you can't give Thor: The Dark World a 6.7 and BVS a 2.7. That is not a matter of what you like or what you don't like. It's a matter of facts. Like, look at one movie and look at the other movie.
And Man of Steel, it started with Man of Steel. Man of Steel had like a 75, I believe, audience score, and fucking Rotten Tomatoes gave it like a 50 something, like 56 or 55 or something like that. So there go, that just shows you right there. And not to cut you off, brother friend, but you brought up an excellent point about Thor: The Dark World. Do you think, and this is gonna trigger a lot of people listening to it, but I don't care, do you think that there is a bias amongst movie critics? Like, do you think that because of what they seen with Marvel isn't what we seen in Zack Snyder's, Dawn of Justice, Man of Steel, and part of Justice League? Do you think that's part of the problem?
Well, I think that Justice League's rate is fair. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the only moment that I've agreed with Rotten Tomatoes, but yeah, I think that the critics, they are supposed to be like, oh, I know film and I need to focus on plot and photography and this and that, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that they are like so used to see Marvel movies that when
Mm.
they see a different superhero movie, they're like, oh, this is not good, this is too dark. And I was like, Man of Steel, are you kidding? Man of Steel is dark because it has like dark tones of a palette. Doesn't mean that the fucking movie is sad. I mean, there's a little bit of sadness, but in the end, you see Clark fucking smiling. You don't have to
Exactly.
put a Sarawana and give me. I remember all the time a scene in Civil War when they are fighting and Ant-Man gets knocked down and he's like, does anyone have any orange slices? I was
Yeah, and
in
that.
the cinema. I was like, oh my god, you're fighting your
Yeah,
friends. You're about to kill them, and you're like, do you have some orange slices? I mean, like, are you retarded? And they gave that movie like a 85 or a 90%.
yeah,
Are you
and
kidding
and
me?
and and, and it's like that with and it most people know my extreme displeasure with Thor Ragnarok, and it's like the same with that movie. They're praising it as the best Marvel movie, and everything. This is just me personally. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, whatever, whatever. But I feel like the problem with Thor Ragnarok, and I'm gonna be releasing a video on that. The problem with Thor Ragnarok is everything basically was treated with like a joke. Everything was a joke in Thor Ragnarok, and I have a problem with that.
Yeah, me too.
You know.
Yeah, me too. Because I mean, I'm not really into Nordic mythology and the stuff, but I know a little. And you're like, oh, Ragnarok is like the end of the world in Nordic mythology. It's
Exactly.
supposed to be something tragic, something like, oh,
Exactly.
I've missed my home, and you're like, you go to the cinema, and he's like, oh, Odin, you son of a bitch. Oh no, the foundings. If you keep the foundings, maybe you can rebuild. And it blows up, and you're like, oh no, nothing to rebuild. It's come on, dude, my fucking planet or my fucking city just blew up. How are you
Yeah.
laughing? I mean, if you look at it knowing nothing, you go in there and watch the movie. It's a really good movie because it's fucking funny, entertaining, has really good visuals. But when you go
Mm.
see there, it's like, I mean, this is like a really next crossing the line. What I'm going to say, but I'm gonna say it anyways. It's like
Mm-hmm.
making a movie about the Holocaust with jokes. And I
Mm.
know it's not the same, but in the theoretical way, it's the same. The end of the world and the end of the world. And you're making jokes?
Mhm.
Do you mind the Schindler's List with jokes?
I know, man. It's crazy, and
That
yet,
is Marvel. That is Marvel.
and another thing I noticed that and this goes back to what you we're talking about earlier with the beginning. You know how I highlighted in my Man of Steel criticisms that make no sense video. One of the most common complaints, and I want to shout out all the butthurt users that are watching this video because you are in particular who I'm talking to. But they're making the complaint of there's too much destruction, and yet in movies like Avengers: Age of Ultron, uh, with the Sokovia falling out of the damn sky and busting, falling in the water and everything. And yet, no critic is talking about the destruction in that. No critic is talking about the destruction in that Iron Man caused. No critics are talking about the destruction that the Hulk caused in the Incredible Hulk. But when Man of Steel, when when Superman realistically is punching Zod through buildings like most superheroes that can fly would do, punching an enemy through a building, it's a problem. It's too much destruction. Oh, Clark's not landing on the ground and smiling and saving people enough, but he has enough time to punch Zod through a building. Hell yeah, he has enough time to punch Zod through a building. It's the enemy. This guy's trying to fuck the world up to make Krypton. So what do you want? Jokes and smiles?
I mean, I
I'm
think that
done.
that is like in really related what our initial idea was, that is past and present, because in the past people were like used to that kind of superhero movie, and they gave Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, Suicide Squad really bad reviews. But the problem is not that they gave the movies bad reviews. The problem is that Warner Brothers were like, oh, we have pissed our pants and we're gonna do what the critics want us to do. And when you do that, you get even like less good critics and less money. So
Yeah.
are you stupid? Like, you
Yeah,
kept your own like style with Zack Snyder. It didn't really go well with the critics, but Wonder Woman, Suicide Squad, BVS made like 900 million each. And you're like, oh no, the critics said that this is not a good movie. Let's make it all rainbows and sunshines. And you go there and they give it a 4, and you get 600 million, and you get 95% of the fandom angry because they didn't see what they wanted to see.
and that's exactly what happened with fucking Justice League. Now,
That's right.
friend, let me shoot a question your way, because we haven't really discussed this movie. What is your initial what are your thoughts on Suicide Squad as a whole, as a movie?
Okay, I was really excited to see that movie, not as much as Justice League, but I was like, dude, the Joker. I was like, man, the Joker, I believe in Jared Leto, I really like him as an actor, it's gonna be amazing. I was like, oh my god, I was in the beach waiting to get to Madrid to get to see it. I come to Madrid, and I was, watching. I was like, oh, okay, this is entertaining. I see the Joker, and I went, oh my god, that's the Joker. Okay. 10 minutes passed, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I see him 2 minutes, 10 minutes more, 20 more, 30 more, 40 more. I see it at the last, I think the last time, when there's like 20 minutes to the movie to end, and that's it. I mean, when I got out, I was like, well, okay. I mean, the movie was entertaining. Like, it got really good photography, action. The Harley Quinn was really good. That shit was really good. But I didn't enjoy it that much because I felt that the Joker wasn't shown like 15 minutes or something like that. And
Yeah.
I didn't really enjoy it the first time I saw it because I was expecting to see a lot of Joker, and I saw 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think for me, it's the same. It keeps going back to Justice League. There's a lot of conflicting reports surrounding Suicide Squad. A bunch of confirmed news outlets were claiming that David Ayer only had 6 weeks to write the script. A bunch of other people were saying because of Batman v Superman's reception, they forced him to include more comedy in the script. But that's kind of conflicting in itself, because the early screenings of Batman v Superman were reportedly getting standing ovations and lots of acclaim. So I don't know if that's true or not. But kind of like you said, obviously the big one, like you just said, is the Joker not being used enough. And I think for me, the problem I had with it is it's not the performances. It's like the third half of the movie and them making Enchantress the main villain. I feel like that brought the movie down a little bit for me. But again, most people know I still can enjoy it. I look at it like a flawed movie, but I still can enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, that happens to me too. Like, if you're not paying attention to the plot, you're like just watching a movie. You're like, oh, this is entertaining. I mean, I could see it another time. But if you start thinking about it, you're like, why did they put like the Enchantress as the main villain? Like,
Exactly.
you should have put someone that is like more grounded, someone that they can defeat physically, not to. I don't even remember what the last scene was. Like, Crocodile gets the bomb underwater and they throw it in the air, and everything stops moving like Zack Snyder slow motion, and Will Smith shoots it and they kill her. And if you think about it, you're like, oh, this is a crazy girl with a bat. This guy knows how to shoot really well. This guy is a crook. This guy knows how to climb. And this guy transforms into a fucking Azteca god for 5 minutes and gets fucked up, and you're like, if this was realistic, you would all be dead. They should have put someone like the Joker as the villain to get like Harley betray the group, and they then remember that she really enjoyed being with the group and betraying the Joker. More about the character, not the typical the world's gonna end scenario.
Exactly.
That's really used.
Yeah, and I hope with Suicide Squad 2, they do take the grounded approach with the movie. I think for me the main thing was coming off of 2016 and being a big part of the DCEU fandoms. I think for me what really gave me a lot of made me really excited going forward was Wonder Woman being as good as it was and it being as successful as it was, because I kind of figured that the movie was gonna be good, but I didn't know it was gonna be as good as it was, and I obviously didn't predict it will gross close to $1 billion, which it probably has with the DVD sales added to the box office total. Let me ask you this: do you feel with the current state of the DCEU, with Justice League having flopped, unfortunately, due to its nature, do you feel that Aquaman needs to be another Wonder Woman, meaning that it needs to be a really high critical success and a high financial success, or do you feel it needs to be just a moderate success and just please the fans?
You're talking about Justice League.
What was that?
You're talking about Justice League, right?
No, I'm talking about Aquaman.
Oh, sorry, I heard something about Justice League and I got. Yeah. No, I think that James Wan has the personality like Patty Jenkins to really be focused on not letting the studio interfere like they did with Justice League and that stuff. And I think that they are focusing on making, I think, that a great movie, because I think that Warner Bros. I mean, it's obvious they're not gonna say, "Oh, we fucked up. Now we're gonna let our directors do their thing." But I think that they're gonna, from this point to the future, I think that they're gonna let the directors do what they want, because they've seen that when they let the director do what they want, they get high critics and great economic success. Like Wonder Woman, they wanted to delete the No Man's Land scene or something like that.
Right.
Patty Jenkins fought for it to put it on the movie. It got put on the movie. It's like the most iconic scene of the fucking movie, and it made a fucking 900 million. So I think that maybe, I hope that they've like learned from their mistakes, but I'm not really pretty sure. But that I think that they've learned something, and with the change of the bosses and executives and that stuff, I think that is gonna, not that they're not gonna get that interference, and they're gonna let Aquaman be its thing, however it plays out. That I think is gonna play out really well, because like the recent test screenings, people said that it was amazing. So
all right,
let's just hope.
Yeah, hope is the key word. Let me also ask you this, friend. Having seen Man of Steel, BVS, and Justice League, most everyone is dying for a Man of Steel 2. Let me ask you this, and this is a question that doesn't get tossed around enough. Do you feel that, I'm gonna give you two scenarios. Do you feel that WB should bring back Zack Snyder for Man of Steel 2 to please the fans that have been with the DCU from the start? Or B, do you think they should bring in a new director and maybe bring in some new fans, but potentially piss off the fans that were with WB from the start?
I would love to get Zack Snyder back to Man of Steel 2, but they're not gonna do it, and I think that Zack Snyder even doesn't wanna do it, because the way he's been treated and how he got out of the movie and how they used the death of his child to cover up that they were fighting me. I think that has affected him in a really bad way, and I would love to, but I don't think that Warner Brothers even is thinking about getting Zack Snyder, and I don't really think that Zack Snyder is even thinking about getting back with Warner Brothers. Because it will be stupid. It's like you've been kicked out of there. They've like destroyed your movie, your vision. Half of your movie is missing, and now they want you back to direct a fucking Man of Steel 2 movie. No way. I would love to, but they're not gonna do it.
Yeah, I would, man. I do almost a lot of things. There's a lot of things I do, no pun intended, to get Zack Snyder back for Man of Steel 2, because I just feel like Justice League, man. I hope we obviously are all praying for his official cut of the movie, but it's still gonna lead. It's still for the real fans of Zack Snyder. It's gonna be a haunting memory for a long time. How Justice League ended up turning out. Brother Fran, I've been asking most of the questions. Did you have any that you wanted to shoot my way?
Yeah, I have one.
Shoot.
And it's, how do you think Shazam is gonna play out? Do you think it's gonna be like so childish that it's gonna remind us to Marvel, or do you think it's gonna be like a lot of jokes but it's gonna have like its own tone?
Oh man. I think it number one it's definitely gonna have a lot of jokes, because it's taking I think David said that it's gonna be taking inspiration from the New 52 Shazam, which, as I said in a video a few weeks back, I did read last summer. So it definitely, and Shazam as a character, he's not always a serious character. So I think it's definitely gonna be humorous. Whether it's gonna be like a Marvel movie, I hope not, but I don't know for right now.
Yeah, I mean that's
that happens.
The limit. Like I don't know if they're gonna cross that limit of saying Sharawana and Orange Slides. I wouldn't really enjoy like a movie with jokes, because it's Billy Batson, it's not Batman. But I just hope they don't cross that line that is really thin between a good joke and a silly joke. that's all I'm hoping for the Shazam movie, that they don't fuck up.
Exactly, and that's the thing I like to bring up. I look at Iron Man, I look at Wonder Woman, I even look at Man of Steel as like they both had an even balance of humor, and they knew when to get serious. It wasn't just a constant joke throughout the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just like it a lot when haters or people that they don't like Zack Snyder and the stuff, they say, no, I mean, Zack Snyder never puts humor in its movies. I mean, it doesn't have to be fucking stupid humor for it to be humor. If you got VBS, exactly. There's some points that is humor, like when Batman saves Martha, and he's like, don't worry, I'm a friend of your sons. And he's like, oh, the cape. I mean, that's humor. Exactly. That's humor.
Exactly.
I mean, what do you expect Batman to say? Oh, you hungry? Wanna get some sharawana? It's fucking Batman. It's a different type of humor, but it's humor. Or in Justice League, the scene where Flash is like running to get behind Superman. The face that Flash makes, that's funny. It's not stupidly funny. I mean, that's what I think most of people don't understand. There's more humor in superheroes apart from Marvel humor. Like there's a lot of moments in BVS that there's humor, and it's not like humor like wow, that's so funny. It's like, hey, you chuckle a little bit, like, huh. But you can't say, oh, they are not humor. Listen, watch the movie again. You kidding me?
Yeah, there's even humor in Man of Steel. Man of Steel. I'm getting way too ahead of myself. Man of Steel 2. There's even humor in Man of Steel, like towards the end when the when the drone goes in the field and the General Swan gets out of his car and says, "Are you effing stupid?" There's a humorous line there.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, Fran, and this goes back to Rotten Tomatoes and critics. And I've said this before in past videos, and it's striked a deep conversation. There's been a lot of triggered butthurtness. But do you think that the problem is critics and certain quote unquote fans have a problem with Zack Snyder, or do you think they're fairly criticizing his movies?
Well, there's no way that they are fairly criticizing his movies. Like,
Yeah.
it's what I said before. Like, I understand that you don't like this kind of movie and you don't like that movie, and I think that is really good. But what you can't do is give BBS a 2.7 and give Dark World a 6.7, or give Civil War almost a 9 or something like that. That's like, you kidding? Like, how? I mean, there's no factual way that you are doing that because you want to. It's like you are so hateful to Zack Snyder and what he does that you are blind. I mean, I understand that you don't like his style, and you go watch his movie and you're like, oh, again, this style, this is slow-mo, that stuff. But you're supposed to be a critic. I mean,
exactly.
They pay you for that. You're supposed to be like, you are not supposed to take sides. And if you are going to a movie, it's like, oh, another movie by this guy, I don't want to see it. Meh. You're gonna be a 5, a 4. I think that they've been really unfair to him because his movies are not bad, are complicated and different from what we are used to see.
Say that one more time. Say that one more time.
They are different, not bad.
Exactly.
You hear Rotten Tomatoes? You there, motherfuckers? You hear now? Something different is not necessarily bad. It can be bad, but there's no necessarily way that it has to be bad. And you can't have like that double way of seeing things and giving Man of Steel a 56 and fucking Suicide Squad 2.5 and BBS 2.7 and give all the Marvel movies from a 7 to up higher.
Yep.
I mean, are you kidding? From 18 movies that they have, none of them has less than a 6.7?
And you touched on some great points. I appreciate you stopping by, brother friend. The thing I notice is, and when I'm chatting with or just glancing over and seeing what a lot of these butthurt individuals that are quote unquote fans say, that I've been reading comics since 1890 or 1870, and Superman is always happy and grinning and all like you said about Geoff Johns being hope and optimism. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, well, nobody complains when Iron Man is different than he is in the comics, because a lot of people bring up comic accuracy and all of this and that in the fourth. And they don't do it with Marvel, but it's like with the DCEU, they're so caught up in disliking and talking about how much they hate the film. They want to say Superman is this way and that way. And I'm just sitting there like, well, do you also realize that comics, movies, and things of that nature also change and gradually get different over the years, over 30 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, like, comics are the source material. Like, it doesn't have to be like a perfect adaptation of the comic. You take the idea of the comics, you take general characteristics from the comics, but obviously you can change it. It's a movie. You're not putting in the title comic accurate Man of Steel. You're putting Man of Steel, and it's inspired in some comics. Inspired. Does it mean that it has to be the same as the comics? No. Move on, people. Move on.
Thank you.
It's not. I mean, you can't put a comic accurate exactly comic accurate film because it will make no sense in live action. Like you have to put some different things to give the character some development, some deep, some internal thoughts and that stuff. Because in the comics, I mean, you're like, oh, I'm gonna take, I don't know, to make a perfect Batman v Superman movie, I'm gonna take The Dark Knight Returns.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, how are you gonna adapt that?
Mm-hmm.
Batman is supposed to be like really fucked up and all that stuff. You can't perfectly put that, because if someone doesn't know who Batman is, he's like, oh, this guy, he's old and he fights an alien. You don't see the depth, because in the comic you're supposed to know what you're seeing, but in a movie that is targeted to a lot of a higher audience, you can't do that. You have to adapt it.
Exactly. And you have to make it, not to cut you off, you have to make the movie in a way to where it appeals to fans, not just comic fans, but it has to also appeal to the casual moviegoer who doesn't read comics but knows about Batman and Superman but has never picked up a comic in his life. And I think that too is the problem with a lot of these so-called critics as well.
I think that they don't get that is impossible. Like, if you see the Batman trilogy, like the Nolan's films, except from the first one, they are not really comic accurate.
Exactly.
Like, they get inspiration and they make its own story, because that's what you're supposed to be doing. You're not adapting a comic, you're adapting an idea. And the Nolan series, I've never seen something like that except Batman Begins, that is really inspired in Batman Year One. But The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, can you tell me something, any comic that is kind of similar to that movie? None. And it's because it's impossible, and you can make a great movie without being comic accurate. So when someone tells you, no, they have to be comic accurate, you have to ask them, do you like the Batman trilogy? And they will say, yeah, that's a real Batman. You can say, then you are a stupid idiot that has an hypocrisy level of 100, and you don't even think about what you're saying. Because The Dark Knight isn't inspired in anything. The characters, and that's it. Because the story, everything is made up. And you can't come 5 years later saying, oh no, Zack Snyder doesn't understand Superman because he's not smiling all the time. It's like, were you in a cave when the Batman trilogy was made?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
A level of hypocrisy that I can stand. It's like,
yeah.
You don't need to go like 20 years in time. It's 1 year before Man of Steel came out. Did you see that movie? Or am I crazy? I
don't know. No, I definitely saw the same movie. And you could almost argue that The Dark Knight isn't even really is more of a crime drama than it is a comic book film. I mean, like you said, it has the characters of Batman, Joker, Two-Face, Commissioner Gordon, blah blah blah. But you could almost argue that it isn't even a comic book film on its own. But let me clarify something, because this is another thing that I see so many users and internet keyboard warriors claiming. There's a lot of people saying that the DCEU is failing financially. And brother friend, I'm of course I'm gonna let you chime in, but let's state the facts. Number one, Man of Steel had an above average budget. I think it was 225 million, but it did gross well over 600 million, and it took I think an extra 100 million in Blu-ray and DVD sales. Suicide Squad came out. I'm going to skip BVS for a minute. Suicide Squad came out, got a mostly negative response, and was still a whopping success, grossing almost 800 million in the box office alone. Then we go to Wonder Woman, of course, being the surprise, not only critically but financially, it grossed damn near 900 million in the box office, and you might as well say it's grossed $1 billion with the home media sales. Going back to Batman v Superman, now there's a lot of people saying that, oh, it had Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in it, so WB was banking on it to make $1 billion. Now, you know, that may or may not be true. That I don't work for WB, so I'm not gonna get on here and say, yeah, I know WB would want this or wouldn't want that. But regardless, as you and I have both stated, BVS was also a success, and it didn't underperform. And like you hinted at in our first collaboration, something I'm proud of, the movie when the Ultimate Edition released, it was one of the top Blu-ray sales, and that boosted the sales on the movie alone, got it to $1 billion.
Yeah, I think that it made like a 150 million or something like that.
Right.
I've seen it recently because they were comparing like the theatrical cut of Justice League and Man of Steel and BVS. I mean, BVS and Man of Steel has sold like 5 times more than what Justice League is selling.
Right.
Yeah, I think so because I saw like a picture or something like that. They got like the first 5 Marvel movies and they got the first 5 DC movies, and DC made more money than Marvel, and they're like, oh, they are underperforming.
Yeah.
Listen, you little. That is making an universe. You don't get a lot of people to go to the cinema if you haven't built something before, unless it's a really good movie. And even in that aspect, we still beat you. So shut the fuck up and look at the numbers. I mean,
exactly.
You can say that critically it's underperformed, and that's true. But financially, the 5 first DC movies have made more money than the first 5 Marvel movies, and no one's saying anything. I only see DC getting shit on, and when Marvel does something bad that they do because they are human, no one criticizes it because Marvel is perfect.
Yep. And let me ask you this, brother friend. I'm gonna chime in first. I just want to say that, and I said it before. No superhero movies that I can think of, and I've seen every MCU movie. I've seen countless superhero movies. There have been very few, and I really honestly can't think of any that come close, except for maybe the first Avenger, Captain America, and I'll explain why momentarily. But there have been no movies that have not only inspired me but caused me to think like Man of Steel and Dawn of Justice have. And the reason I bring up the first Avenger, Captain America, I know it's a so-so movie, but just seeing Steve going from being this skinny kid that gets pushed around, seeing him jump on the grenade foolishly about to get blown to smithereens in that one scene in the movie, to going to be one of the a top hero, that to me was kind of inspirational. But I think for me, the movies that have influenced me and continue to influence me and make me think are Man of Steel and BVS. And would you also agree, aside from the Captain America part, brother friend?
Yeah, I think that they are like really different movies, and BVS and Man of Steel are good because they make you think about philosophy, like anthropology, human history, human's future, hate, immigration, that stuff. And what Marvel movies does are like, you're gonna go to the cinema, enjoy the movie, and go home the same person you came to see the movie. And I don't blame it, because they do that really well, and their movies are really entertainment. Like Avengers, that you said. Avengers is a really simple movie, really simple plot, really bad photography. It looks like a fucking TV show. Thank you, Joss Whedon. And it made like 1.3 billion. Why? Because doesn't make you think. It's good for the kids. Let's go
Yeah.
see it. Then
Yep.
a BBS, a different kind of movie, makes you think, and people are like, "Oh no, it's too dark. It's too grimy."
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, use your fucking brain. Hello, hello, Frank. Earth calling your fucking brain. Hello, hello. 1, 2, 3. If you are that simple of a person that you don't even wanna think a little bit, because if you think a little bit, you understand the fucking plot. But now I'm not gonna think even a little. I need to everything to be chewed on. Like, listen, this is the bad guy, okay? Oh, the bad guy. Oh, okay, he does bad things. Oh, okay, he's the bad guy. Yeah, that's good. But when they don't tell you, and they are, let's see who's the bad guy, why he's right, why he's not right. I don't know. It's dark. It's boring. I don't like it. Listen, think a little bit.
Exactly.
I can stand that. I mean, Marvel movies are really simple. They do what they focus on do, that is being simple. And DC movies in general made you think a little bit more, because if you don't want to, you just think a little bit and you get everything. And people are like, no, it's too dark. What do you mean it's too dark? Like Superman giving his life for this, for Earth. It's beautiful. It's not fucking dark. You kidding?
Exactly, man.
What kind of emotional education did you get? I don't know. I don't know. I can't stand it. I can't stand these people.
I can't. I'm sorry, man. I can't either sometimes. I really can't. And not only as I said, Superman in Man of Steel and BVS, but even with the movie that took a less darker approach with Wonder Woman, it made me think, because it made me think about what we as human beings are capable of, and I think that's a good point that Steve Trevor brought up in the movie. When he said when he said something along the lines of maybe we're all to blame.
Yeah.
Lines that made me think, and like you said, when I'm watching a Marvel movie, it's like, aside from a few exceptions, and most people that have talked with me know which ones they are. Aside from a few exceptions, I go into a Marvel movie, I'm like, okay, I know this is gonna happen. Okay, it's gonna be like however many credit scenes. Okay, like you said, we leave, we don't think much about it. But with Batman v Superman, when it challenges you, when it has scenes like, even with Lex Luthor, and that's another thing I want to touch on you with about Lex Luthor, man. I feel like Lex Luthor, Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, is probably one of the most criminally underrated and underappreciated comic book movie villains. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, well, the first thing that I have to say is that I accidentally spilled a lot of water in my keyboard, and that's not good. And
Jesus,
second,
you didn't get.
I mean, it's still working, but whatever. I think well, the first thing to say is like that it's not Lex Luthor, it's his son. That is something like, oh, this is not Lex Luthor. It's like, Jesus, in the fucking movie they tell you. He's all the time, oh, daddy, 1, 2, 2 plus 2 is 4. And I think that he's been underrated because his plan was really good from the beginning. Like, he had a plan A, a plan B. Like, if Batman doesn't kill Supes, Doomsday is gonna kill him. Like, he was so intelligent that he didn't go all in on Batman. He had a plan B. I'm sure that he didn't say it, but he had a plan C. That was calling Steppenwolf to come to Earth, because he was so crazy that he wanted Superman death. I think he's been also underrated because his performance was, everyone was like, oh, he's the Riddle, he's the Joker. No, man, he's a lunatic, he's a psychopath that thinks that he's smarter than anyone. So it's normal that he has that kind of social problems, that he doesn't know how to act when he's in social situations like the party at his house. It's like, I don't know, it's what I said before. You don't have to be really intelligent to understand these movies. You just have to think a little bit and stop complaining when you have the evidence and the facts to understand it, and you don't want to understand it. And instead of saying, "Oh, I didn't understand me. Maybe I am wrong, and I need to do some research." No, the movie is dark. That's it. That's my critique. Okay.
Or the movie is bad. The movie, this person was terribly miscast as Batman. This person was terribly miscast as Lex Luthor. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor orchestrated one of the most brilliant plans I've ever seen in a comic book movie. Basically, I hate to say this because I'm a fan of Superman, but I'm gonna say it. Made Superman his bitch for like 30 minutes until Superman and Batman were able to, come to an agreement. And pretty much like what you said with Doomsday, orchestrated the death of Superman.
Yeah, I mean,
but yet he's a horrible villain. He's a bad villain.
It's like the Joker in the Dark Knight. I mean, he gets caught, but he still wins.
Exactly.
He turned the whole city on Batman. Harvey Dent is dead. Rachel is dead, and everything is like holding on into that lie. And in BVS, the villain wins, because what's like Lex Luthor's ultimate goal? Kill Superman, and he does it. He did it, so he won. I mean, it was his plan B, but he got it. Yeah, Doomsday died, okay, but Superman's dead, so he's happy. I mean, I understand later he gets revived and all this stuff, but he won. How can you say a villain is bad when he has won the hero? How many times do you see the villain win the hero? Dark Knight, BVS. No more. I haven't seen ever the heroes fail. Oh, maybe in Infinity War, we don't know, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so simple just to... No, it's bad. It's creamy. No, miscast.
Yeah. It's too dark. It's too dark. But Superman is not saving enough people. He's not smiling enough.
Listen, there's a fucking montage in the fucking movie where you can see Superman saving a girl from a fire, some guys in a ship that just collapsed, a fucking spaceship that almost exploded. He saves Lex from the Fist of Doomsday.
Yep.
Listen, watch the fucking movie again.
Yep.
I mean, these people are... It's in their faces, like... Listen! Watch the fucking movie, and when you go there and you're like, oh, listen, I don't think you're right, mister, because... I think this and that. Oh, Zack Snyder's army is harassing me again. What are you, fucking 12? Or 7. Like, when
man.
you go there and you're like, listen, I'm gonna try to explain to you because I think that you didn't really understand it. I think that... Oh, shut up. Okay. I'm not even gonna waste my time explaining to you. Live in your little bubble of ignorance.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. I wish the reason there's when I look back at a lot of my videos, I'm like, and I see certain comments, I'm like, and then I go online and I'm reading all this stuff about Zack Snyder doesn't understand this character, or Zack Snyder destroyed this character. I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you. There's days where I just want to be like, fuck it, I quit. But I read certain comments and I see certain comments, people saying things like, your channel is getting speaking for multiple people. And then even when you reached out and asked me to collab, I saw that as an opportunity, because that let me know you are a fan of not only BVS and Man of Steel, but you're a fan of Zack Snyder. And being able to do that, it's great, and that's part of the reason I asked you to collab. But let me ask you another question, brother friend. What do you think that financially the movies need to continue to be a success financially, or they both need critical and financial success?
Well, personal opinion, only financial. Because if the movies they say are the worst ones, they gave a lot of money and true fans loved it, listen, keep giving me that. Oh, critics hate it. Okay, I'm getting 900 million per movie and the fans are happy. Now I'm gonna change everything and fuck it up. No money, no critics, no fans. Okay. And what I think that from an economic and company view, of course they need critical success. I mean, if you want a movie to go to $1 billion in far away, you need to have that. And I think that Warner Brothers really are trying to get that Rotten Tomatoes score from rotten to fresh, but I don't think they're gonna make it if they keep doing what they are doing. I hope Aquaman goes well, and in a personal kind of way, I would have been really fucking happy if we had Zack Snyder directing more movies, because yeah, they are not critically approved, but they are making 900 million each movie. So listen, what's the problem? All they care about is money. So you are getting money, most of the fans are happy. You are getting 150 million in Blu-ray sales. What more can you ask for? The critics don't like you, so what? People are still gonna go watch it because they do. What's the problem now? No, let's change it. Hope and optimism, guys.
Yeah, basically, aka the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
I guess for me, you see, you bring up a good point, because as we've seen, and I'm not comparing the two franchises, but until recently, the Transformers movies were grossing $1 billion each, and fans everywhere were saying they were the worst things ever. Yet, $1 billion each movie until the last one said otherwise, and that's why they were continuing to be made, because people were paying billions of dollars to go see them. But looking at Wonder Woman, I mean, I don't feel like the critics. I'm not gonna say the critics don't matter, but the main thing for me is I think that the studio needs to stop interfering where they aren't needed. They need to stop tearing their filmmakers that they hire's vision apart, like with David Ayer and Suicide Squad, or as we know with Zack Snyder and pretty much all BVS and Justice League. And just let them make their own fucking movies.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that they are so desperately to get approved that by the critics that they are doing what they think the critics want, and by that they are fucking it up worse than it was, and then neither they are getting the critics, neither they are getting the money, and neither they are getting the support of the fans. And because if you're like, oh, we're gonna change it and everything's gonna go right. Worst DCEU movie release weekend of all the 5 or 6 movies, 96 million. That's nothing. Then you have 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. That is a failed. Really good. One of those, really good. And then 3 days later that the movie comes out, you have 200k people signing a petition to get the original cut.
Yep.
It's like you fucked up in a way that you don't even understand yet. Like, we are in the 11th of April, and there's still a lot of thousands of people asking for the Snyder Cut every day. Like, you pissed off the fandom so much trying to fix it in what you thought was fixing it, that you fucked up everything. They were so focused on the fucking critics that they had 2 facts. They had the money and they had the fans, and now they don't have anything of it.
Yep. And it's a shame. Well, it's a shame how man. See, I get pissed every time I think about it. Justice League was supposed to be epic, man. It was supposed to be great, and and it's just a shame that it's great to see the fandom come together, and at least I'm glad that Zack Snyder knows he has fans, because like I said in a prior video, I know he has to see some of this god awful stuff online. I mean, there was a tweet, that, and I went after the user. A Twitter user, talking about his daughter committed suicide so she wouldn't have to watch his shitty movies.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Yeah, and it's just awful, man. It's just really awful, and I just hate that Justice League. You know, again, I'm glad to see the fandom come together, united as one, and you know, it's like we're growing every day. But it's just sad that we didn't get to experience it on the big screen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can't generalize like everyone was saying that, but people even thinking that, it's what's wrong with you? Like,
Yeah,
how can you say something so bad, so terrible to a man that has just lost his job? The movie he's been working for 7 years, 7 years, and now he's losing his daughter. I mean, like, how can you be happy about that?
yeah,
And people were like, not like saying things about his daughter, but people like was like, oh, the DCU saved, Zack Snyder's gone. Oh my God, this is the happiest day of my life. And you're like, listen, you can say that maybe a week from now, but his daughter just died. I think if you had a little bit of respect, you wouldn't be happy about him leaving because he didn't leave. He got fired. That is different.
mhm,
Warner Bros. Don't try to like lie to us. I don't know.
yeah.
The whole situation. The more you look up into it, the more complicated it gets, and the more frustrating it gets. And I'm like amazed how Zack Snyder has kept his calm and didn't say anything.
Yes,
That
yes.
they do that to me, and I'm in the fucking national news saying "fuck Warner Brothers, fuck you in the ass, motherfuckers." Like all day in Twitter, in Vero, like "fuck you, you made me lose my job, you fucking idiots, you fucked up the movie." And he's so calm, like, yeah, I would like to see my cut. Everything so
But
politely. He's not. I mean, I suppose he was angry. Didn't say anything. Like, man, how can you hate on this man? Like, they fight him, and he was like, "Well, okay, I understand it. I'm not gonna say anything. I've been working on this movie for 7 years, but yeah, that's what they said.
yeah,
I
and
understand."
he worked so hard. He worked so hard. I heard like he like with certain scenes, it takes him over like days to make sure a certain scene or a certain sequence in a movie looks as good as it does. But Aaron, let me also ask you. I'm not taking up too much of your time, am I?
Nah, no problem.
Okay, yeah. Let me ask you this. What movie aside from Aquaman, Shazam, and Wonder Woman 2, which movie that's either rumored to be in development or is at least confirmed to be being made are you looking forward to the most?
The Batman trilogy. Where
The
is it?
Batman.
Where's the news? Matt Reeves, hello, hello. Earth calling Matt Reeves. Say anything about the script. Say anything about the actors that there's gonna be in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 2018, almost summer, and it's supposed to be on production, not pre-production, production on 2019, and they don't even know if Ben Affleck's gonna still be the Batman or not. And they want
Yeah.
to do a trilogy. Listen, start
Yeah.
saying things. People are gonna forget about your movie.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
may
That's true.
it may be great, but listen, say something. At least you know with the Flash, with Shazam, we know the writers, we know who's gonna be in it, we
Mhm.
know a little bit about what's gonna be about. But the Batman, I'm outlining. Yeah, I'm doing some things on the script. Listen, you've been 1 year and a half to do the fucking script. You are working like a fucking turtle.
Yeah, man.
I
It's
mean,
crazy.
is it that difficult to say? Yeah, it's gonna be inspired in, I don't know, Death in the Family. And no, Ben Affleck is not gonna be the Batman. That's it. We've been like 2 years, like, oh, news for the new Batman solo. Oh, news for the new Batman solo. And
Yeah.
Ben Affleck was gonna have like this little Q&A in this Comic Con or something like that, and he declined it because he knew that everyone was gonna talk about it. Listen, official statement: Ben Affleck is or is not going to be the Batman anymore. Is it that difficult? You have to stay 1 year and a half, like yes, then no, then yes, then no. Say
Yeah.
something. Like everyone
Say
is like
something.
so expecting everything. Like say something. Just say it.
Yeah.
That's the same like for the Snyder Cut. Like say something, Warner Bros.
Yeah.
If they've in the second week that they saw it, they can say we are not gonna do it. That's it. Problem solved. Or yeah, we're gonna do it. Wait for next announcements. That's it. Is it really that difficult? They have to think 8 months for a decision. What kind of company is that? I don't know, man. Maybe when you are there, it's like more difficult to control everything. But is it really that difficult to do an official statement on simple things like who's gonna be the fucking lead role in the movie?
Not really, man. Really, it shouldn't be.
I'm gonna do a Superman movie. I've been working 2 years in it, and I don't even know who's gonna be in it. Oh, and it's gonna be released in 1 year and a half. You're like, hey, what? What? I think that we're gonna see the movie in like 2034, when an actor that hasn't even been born plays it, and when Matt Reeves is dying in his hospital bed. He's so desperate, like, it's so desperate that I don't know.
Yeah, I think WB. I think what one thing that's exciting about it is, even though they're announcing all these standalones like the Joker solo, the Birds of Prey movie, the Batgirl movie, the Gotham City Sirens, which I think is either in development or on hold or whatever. And my favorite, Deathstroke. I think the main thing for me is it's a lot different from what Marvel is doing. It's not that it's in the, we don't know, like for example, the Joker movie I think is not in the DCEU, but we haven't seen something like that with Marvel. And once they get a guy like Joaquin Phoenix for the Joker movie, I mean, hell, it's Joaquin fucking Phoenix. It could be great. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but what I think is that Warner Brothers are afraid of the difference. Like, critics say they don't like a movie because it's different. Now Warner Brothers is trying to do everything so Marvel focused. They try to do Marvel focused, they fail. Now they're gonna try to do again, like, trust on directors and let everyone do their thing. And I think that they've passed that line, and I'm really excited for that Joker movie. But listen, you are supposedly trying to build a universe. You're not gonna build a universe if you start doing standalone films.
That's true.
That's gonna, like, the general audience is gonna be like, oh, wasn't Jared Leto the Joker? Now it's this guy, and I come 6 months later to Suicide Squad 2 and Jared Leto's the Joker, but in this movie is this guy. Is disconnected? It's gonna like freak out the audience. The audience is not even understand, like, wait, so now there's 2 Batmans, 2 Jokers, what's going on here?
Yeah. And I think that's gonna be a problem too if like you said, we know next to nothing except, as far as we know, Ben Affleck is still attached to play Batman, even though one day he is and next day he isn't. And then of course we know Matt Reeves is the director. What did you have any more questions for me, brother Fran?
No, I was thinking that we're gonna wrap up because we've passed like 1 hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah, we went in today.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, brother Fran, I do appreciate you for collaborating with me on this video. Ladies and gentlemen, as I always say, I will leave a link to Fran's channel in the description. You all make sure you go and subscribe to his channel. And Fran, again, thank you for stopping by, and see you all next time.
Yeah, no problem. Bye bye.